Yeah. Dude was nuts, man.
Oh, he was crazy in ring competitor. I remember more at WCW, especially as part of the Dungeon of Doom. That's where I first started getting to know him, honestly. And I saw him a time or two on WWF programming, but before back then. But eventually I cut more of his WWF days eventually. But I said I got to know more as the Dungeon of Doom and so forth, so on. But and then man, when he got to be a singles competitor, I was like, you just saw more from the guys. Like, good lord.
Yeah, it was. I knew him as the Faces of Fear with him and Barbarian.
Oh yeah, that was a big tag team there. I know the night they were going that they put Meng versus Goldberg. Goldberg was, obviously on a huge streak back then. It was like just because those two were going to be in a match, I'm like, good lord, have mercy, it's going to be a hell of a match there. And it was. I was like, that's the two tough big guys in there tearing the house down. It's not just like two big guy versus two big guy where it can be kind of dull sometimes. It was, yeah. He brought the fight. They allowed him to bring the fight to Goldberg, and it was a good damn match.
Yeah. So with Goldberg, they do have a special on the network that I watched a couple days ago, and it was when I actually had a hard time finding this pay-per-view. They talked about Goldberg coming to WCW, and when DDP saw he shaved his head, he goes, "What are you doing? That's Stone Cold's gimmick." And he's like, Dallas, I think this is who I am. And then DDP is like, you couldn't fake his intensity in the ring, and that's part of what got him over is his intensity. So he was.
Oh yeah.
Like they showed his first match against Hugh Morris, and Goldberg just wanted to do things he didn't think people would, expect him to do, like the backflip. So.
Oh yeah. The thing about Goldberg, a lot of people. Well, I say a lot of people, but let's just say several people. Let's just say that. I see, and you see this day too. You see that the big guys doing you see that, but it's like, it gets overdone, but you don't quite believe how tough they are. How much believable they are when they do. He had that look of the cell in his face, the look of his body, look of his psychology. Obviously had the in ring there. It just says it put him over. He had that. He did everything just right, and that's what made it so much more better. And he had that ability in the ring, like it's not something you would see from a guy his size in the ring. And obviously his matches were quick, but they were, that's what they were meant to be. They were like, get in, do your job, get out. And so you had a spear and jackhammer, so forth. But it's just he had that intensity that wasn't just another big guy doing that. He was something that it meant something, and that's what really put him over. And obviously his look was just his tights and everything, and more evolved, you got better. But that's what absolutely. So you see a lot of big guys over the years. They do that. I just said, it's just like, okay, all right. Now, if he did it, it was just something different,
Well, with Goldberg, and this is kind of like when I saw this too, I was thinking this as well. With Goldberg, he just had this look of, I'm going to come in, kill you, and leave.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. He clocked in. He was not getting paid by the hour.
Yeah, he just had that look of just like, you're wasting my time, and I guess that's what part of it sold it. And
oh yeah,
and his agility, and that's one of the things that I think a lot of big men are missing, kind of like with this big, not when I say big man, I don't mean like Keith Lee big, I mean like a Drew McIntyre big, where they're kind of tall, built and whatnot. They don't have the agility that he had. The only two people that were believable in their size and agility were him and Brock, and they have not been able to duplicate that yet.
No, those two guys have something that Drew don't have that. Not like it's a knock, but his personality, his gimmick is just him. He just it's a swagger, as I would say too. A very intense swagger. That's the best way of saying it. Is that that's Drew's different, his own way. And if you put another big guy in there, go look at Braun Strowman.
Yeah, he doesn't have it.
Yeah, he has a good intensity, like just because his character, but he doesn't have. Obviously, he don't never move like Goldberg. I don't expect that, but it's just his. Not saying he's not talented. Braun Strowman is talented his own way. It's just that yeah, it's a different story with him. There's other big guys that's been there. It's hard to duplicate that or put a special ring on a big guy. That has that type of body style. So I definitely can go along with that too.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Drew, honestly, I've always said from the get-go, he should just have a character that just wants to fight. It would fit him. It would fit his voice. It would fit his look. It just would fit him. It's just he just wants to fight, beat people up, and leave.
Honestly, I think what he's been doing since he's been a babyface really works. And he has that good babyface type of for the people, and I mean it just works. I mean, you can go in there and do what he's doing. Like what you're talking about too. I mean, both ways it'll work. I just think that him coming in there, being for the people and being like that top babyface just works just well for him. Being the more that I guess, no pun intended, but being more of a people's champion, I think that just worked for him really good.
Yeah. No, I'm not knocking him.
Yeah.
This is how I would have wrote the character.
Yeah, I understand that.
It just realistically, people. Well, I guess Roman's kind of pulling off that attitude now, but just not anyone really had that attitude that Goldberg had, and he kind of projected off, and it helped him to where he barely spoke, and he just was. His main thing was just who's next. Okay, well, all right. And it didn't really, even though they tried, and the person that portrayed this character tried, but Ryback is not Goldberg.
I heard that comparison a number of times.
The Femi Moore, who's next? Yeah, I can see the parallels, but he did not have the intensity of Goldberg.
No, that was not there. He was entertaining in his own way. It was good. It was entertaining. Just a lot of different ball game there.
Well, any case, that's what I mean. We kind of went on a tangent there about Meng and not Goldberg, but that was the review of the 1988 Royal Rumble.
The retro review is in the bank.
Reviews is in the bank. Again, you can find us on Spreaker, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter at Wrestling's as Cool, and take over for the rest.
And for Instagram, it is at Wrestling Still Cool. TikTok is Wrestling Still Cool 90. Facebook is Wrestling Still Cool. And send us an email, wrestlingstillcool@gmail.com. Let us know what guest you would like to see or hear. Well, you can see it by picture maybe, but just let us know what guest and what stuff we should to review for retro review. Say hey or do it or send something on DM for social media. We'd love to hear from you. For all y'all that's listening and download, we appreciate you hanging out and enjoying some good old talking.
Absolutely. And that'll be it. We'll call it a night. We'll have another episode in a few days to discuss about the new comings. Of course, discuss a little bit more about Drew testing positive and things like that from this week. And if it really did happen, the match may or may not have taken place between Triple H and Randy Orton. Didn't realize we're going back to 2011. But that's it. That's going to call it a night for us. And if you ever see Meng, be respectful. You don't want to lose a nose and you don't want to lose teeth.